As someone who devotes hours to discussing the deeper themes and enriching undertones of anime, it's always been difficult for me to fully evaluate a straightforward but genuine romance or slice of life anime compared to, say, a deep, melancholic drama with its subtle philosophical implications. And perhaps this is why it felt so profound when I would look up after every 20-minute episode of Kaguya-sama Love is War with a beaming smile on my face. When I nearly cried laughing at Shirogane's attempts to dip his toes into the world of hip-hop, despite everyone's pleas against it. When I felt such joy after witnessing Ishigami overcome his past trauma in one of the most beautiful story arcs to be written in anime. When I felt like a proud father seeing Shirogane and Kaguya finally submit in their long battle of attrition and admit that they were in love.
会長、好きです。私と付き合ってください。
And perhaps it is for all of these same reasons that everyone loves Kaguya-sama too. But it's a bit more than just that, I know. When I look at all these great parts of Kaguya-sama, I see faint connections to other great anime. The show's long-running dedication to gags, most notably this season's joke about Shirogane's rapping, and the show's commitment going so far as to include an entire song and rap piece to conclude the arc, reminded me a lot of the type of humor I see in Gintama. The short, subdivided stories within each episode, done to respect each chapter of course, pave a path similar to the disastrous life of Psyche K, capitalizing on short bits to give the watcher a comprehensive dive into every aspect of our main cast's school life. The more connections like this that I see, the more I am reminded of just how many aspects of modern anime that Kaguya-sama has completely mastered in only its 37-episode run so far. But admittedly, though I was always certainly intrigued by the show, it was not until the end of Season 2 reared its head when I came to understand the value of the anime I was watching, of the, may I say, peak fiction I was witnessing. Once again, perhaps it's because of the way that I have grown to view anime and how I naturally lean towards serious shows, but the part of Kaguya-sama that propelled it so high for me was arguably its most serious part, the sports festival arc. And I feel like explaining this arc alone first in this video can offer a bit of insight into what I think makes Kaguya-sama special as a whole. This arc shows us Ishigami's tragic backstory amidst the backdrop of the escapades of what should just be an entertaining sports festival, but what more so acts as a plot device that brings Ishigami's growth as a character. It begins as his regretful decision to join the cheer club and be surrounded by peers the complete opposite of his, well, disposition. But through a series of events, it turns into a proud celebration of Ishigami's identity and confronting the ghosts of his past. Ishigami is like a lot of us, I'm sure. A bit antisocial, likes games, with a dash of pessimism and self-loathing to top it all off. But his story is stoic and hard to watch, frankly, at some points, yet understandable. After beating up another student who was mistreating his girlfriend, to say the least, Ishigami was told to write an apology in order to return to school. But no matter what he did or how much his teachers berated him, he could not bring himself to write something he did not believe in. Even if it means facing the scrutiny of his classmates, his teachers, his parents even, Kaguya-sama teaches us how difficult it can be to stay true to ourselves and remain unwavering like Ishigami, but also just how rewarding it can be. The finale to this arc was masterfully done, with Shirogane and Kaguya saving Ishigami's lost soul and his spectacular yet laughable admission to the girl he saved long ago. The show rewards our faith in Ishigami for doing the right thing, no matter what punishment it brought, and sticking through to the end. And that ending is why we love him and this storyline. Or at least, why I do. And now I will pose the question, What about Season 3 warranted Kaguya-sama to receive such high praise? Why does everyone love it? Well, to be fair, the first 2 seasons were by no means low ranked. It's also often the case that the later seasons of a good show are ranked higher than the previous ones, simply because a larger percent of the viewers are the ones who like the show enough to come back to it. But aside from those extraneous logistics, I believe the answer once again lies in how the author stayed true to the characters and gave them the perfect conclusion, just like in the sports festival arc. Let's look at the defining component of Season 3 to further understand this. The cultural festival arc. The long-awaited dual confession storyline in the cultural festival arc was highly anticipated after all this time, meaning that this finale was expected to be nothing short of spectacular to begin with. Unlike the sports festival arc, or any arc that came before this one to be fair, this alone is the conclusion to everything that's been built, the main premise of the story of Kaguya and Shirogane finally confessing to each other. Of course, it's not the end of the series, but that doesn't change the magnitude of the confession that acts as a finale to the entire high school story arc. Nothing ruins a good show like a bad conclusion, but nothing makes it better than a magnificent one. If Kaguya-sama tells us one thing, after it took 3 whole seasons of the show before the main characters finally admitted their love, it tells us that Kaguya and Shirogane are unbending. Neither will admit defeat, but they will also never stop trying. And without throwing this character development out of the window, the author writes a conclusion in the dual confession storyline where neither of them actually confess to each other. Shirogane asks if Kaguya will go to Stanford with him, and she kisses him, but at the end of the long war between the two, it is only befitting and almost poetic that neither of these incredibly strong, unbending characters ever actually confess in the end. They can never admit defeat and outright say it. We witness the ultimate display of love from Shirogane, with every last-ditch effort pulled out and meticulously planned to make sure it all went according to plan in a flourishing finish to the season. One that stays truthful, though, to the story it's built up to this point. It once again rewards fans for their faith, this time in Kaguya and Shirogane, while also paying back to those of us who believe that they, as characters, would never be able to confess to each other, and made sure that they never had to, through what I can only say is great writing. Following in the footsteps of and expanding on what Ishigami's story told us in the season before, Kaguya-sama once again teaches us that it is important to celebrate who you are and to never change just because someone wants you to. It's human nature to stick to your guns, and even if you're lovesick or bullied, to be who you are, to be unwavering, to be unbending. Not only is it great writing, but I think that's a great reason alone for everyone to love Kaguya-sama. As always, this has been the Anime Culture Corner. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future in-depth show, manga, and character analyses.